Buddhism is at the heart of everything in Myanmar. You'll see more temples, pagodas, stupas and Buddha statues than you ever thought possible. But there is more, so much more to discover, not least in absorbing the day-to-day life of people here. Each region is so very different, but a common theme soon emerges through encounters with engaging Burmese people who are only too delighted to now share their amazing country with curious international visitors. My journey began in Yangon, formerly Rangoon. Decades of economic and cultural isolation are clear to see in the mainly crumbling facades of once grand colonial buildings. But despite the heat, the chaos and the terrible traffic, Yangon has a distinct charm of its own.
So this has to be the best way to get around Yangon. It's fantastic because everything is roadside. You get to see everything up close without any effort at all. But I do recommend getting one with an umbrella because it is really hot.
You can also see the sights by crossing the river or hopping on board the circular train. And if it all seems too hectic, there are plenty of calmer green spaces to catch your breath. For shopping, downtown there are some modern malls, but the best place for local crafts and souvenirs is the Bothoti market. And when you're out and about, a visit to one of the hundreds of local tea houses is a must.
So we're always moving here to one of the traditional tea shops or tea houses here in Yangon. People come here to meet up, to have breakfast, to have meetings. The normal tea is complimentary, but the thing to try is the sweet condensed milk tea. So it's an acquired taste.
Without doubt though, Yangon's main highlight is also the key landmark.
Robbie, tell me how to pronounce the name of this temple properly.
Shui Dagon.
And does that mean something?
Shui means gold. Dagon is the former name of this region.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the site to see in Yangon.
It's a highlight of Yangon, and even we can say highlight of Burma. Around the base of the pagoda, there are 8 sections for the dates of week.
Yeah.
You know, because Wednesday has 2 parts: Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon. Each day has symbols. For example, Monday, tiger; Tuesday, lion.
It just reveals to me how important it is to come with a guide to explain all this, because you probably wouldn't understand just walking around. It's very interesting, all the detail.
From Yangon, a 30-minute internal flight takes you to Bagan. Hard to imagine a starker contrast from the madness of the city to the tranquil setting of the Bagan archaeological zone. My guide San put it into context.
In the 60 square mile, it has 3,122 pagoda. This 3,122 pagoda. So this Bagan starts from 9th century until 13th. 9th to 13th century, it was the first Myanmar empire. Bagan is contemporary with Angkor Wat from Cambodia.
Yes.
Bagan is contemporary with the Borobudur, Indonesia. And 9th to 13th century, it is the same time Normandy period in Europe, just after the Mayan civilization.
Yeah, it is absolutely mind-blowing, just completely mind-blowing.
All of the temples are unique. You can pick out the most sacred, the largest, the most decorated, the oldest, but ultimately you'll only ever see a fraction of what's here. And only you can decide which you think is the most beautiful. Sunrise and sunset are particularly special times to view the panoramas. But beyond the temples, there's plenty more to see. A visit to the local market is well worth a detour.
Market open 6 days in a week.
And it's just buzzing with life. Everybody's doing their shopping, pushing and shoving. There's bikes everywhere. People come in on their bikes from the local area. And where is all this produce coming from?
Actually, these all vegetables, all the fish from the Ayeyarwady River.
Right.
Because we began is standing on the eastern bank of river.
Yeah.
So now it is summer. That's why river water is going down. And many islands appear on the centers of river. That's why we can make this cultivation.
Bagan is also especially well known for its lacquerware. And in the surrounding farmland you can see palm toddy tappers at work and learn more about the different uses for the abundant sesame and peanut crops. One other must-see is Mount Popa and the Taungkalat temple rising dramatically from the dry valley. Fans of Rudyard Kipling may have romantic notions about Mandalay. It is in fact Myanmar's second largest city and no less crowded than Yangon, although here motorbikes rather than cars are the preferred mode of transport. As a former royal capital though, there's plenty to see. You could easily spend a couple of days here, but we ticked all the tourist sites in just one day.
One thing that's on every itinerary is a trip up to the top of Mandalay Hill. Unfortunately today, and I'm told in fact for most of the year, it is always pretty hazy. You don't really get a spectacular sunset, but you do get these amazing views out to the Irrawaddy River.
Our next flight took us to Heiho, gateway to the Shan state. Inle Lake is the main draw in the region, but before heading there we took the scenic drive across the Shan Plateau to Pindaya, a pretty lakeside town best known for the caves which overlook it. When you arrive at the caves it's impressive enough, just the entrance hall, and then you come through and there's 400 metres of caves. It goes on and on, all the walls covered with Buddhas of all shapes and sizes. After lunch by the lake, we stopped by the local umbrella maker.
Travelling between the different regions by air, you really do get to see a lot of the country and experience the really dramatic contrast between regions. We've ended the day here in Kalor. This was an area very much favoured by the British in the colonial times, and you can see why. Lower temperatures, lots of green, very calm and peaceful.
Kalor is often used as a starting point for hikes to Inle Lake, but with no time for walking, we took the 2-hour drive, eventually reaching the paddy fields that surround Nuang Shui, the gateway for boat trips on the lake. For me, Inle Lake was a real highlight. Not only is it stunningly beautiful, but there's so much to see, and it's great fun getting round the area by long-tailed speedboat. The fishermen here have developed a unique technique of rowing with one leg, keeping the other leg free to manipulate the net. For a few dollars, they're only too happy to show off their skills for close-up shots, but you'll see them round the lake using this traditional method, especially very early in the morning. The floating gardens, which cover a quarter of the lake, are also fascinating.
Now we can see this is their farmer. This called the seaweed and algae. This is for the floating garden to make their organic fertilizer. This is two advantages. Not only cleaning for the lake, but also it can useful for the floating garden, especially to grow the tomato.
Other areas to explore are the stilted villages. Each village has its own particular tradition or craft passed down through the generations. And the market which rotates around the villages is the absolute hub of local activity.
The local market is not only selling and buying their product, but also their meat and wine. It's collecting information.
Ah, okay.
For example, the Norwich ceremony and wedding ceremony. And when they want to send the invitation card, they distribute from this market.
Oh,
It's
I
a
see.
many- yeah.
So each of the rows is a different village,
Yeah.
and they know who to go to get the information. So it's not
Exactly.
just shopping; it's about gossip and
Yeah.
and exchanging information as well. And
Yeah.
this only comes every 5 days to this area.
It's moving. The next day is to the other place.
Right.
And there's plenty to see on the shores of the lake too, not least at the western end where you'll find the amazing Indane Pagoda complex with over 1,000 18th century stupas.
What we've seen on this trip could be described really as classic Myanmar. From the bustling streets of the cities to the tranquility of Bagan and Inle Lake, this country really has so much to offer. The iconic sights, of course, are just extraordinary, but so too is just observing the people going about their daily lives. What you experience here is raw and always genuine. Nothing feels staged for tourists. Myanmar is at a key stage in its history. Tourist numbers are growing, but there are still many issues to be faced. Having a guide with you makes all the difference. There's so much to learn, to try and understand. After 2 weeks here, I still feel like I've only just scratched the surface. One thing I do know is that it's definitely made a lasting impression.